Hello guys, my name is Anna and I'm from Ukraine. I have started vlogging after brutal Russian invasion of my free and beautiful country Ukraine because I believe the world needs to know more real-life stories. I am not a military expert, I am not a politician, but I am a professional Ukrainian that stays in my country during wartime and reads and absorbs everything, and I'm really grateful that you want to know more about Ukraine. So if you support my country and you want to witness our victory together, please subscribe, share, ask your question in comments. We are very grateful for this support and attention, and we desperately need it. To tell you the truth, those of you who follow me know that hoodie time is a time when I need some comfort, and after reading news, I do need this comfort, and still I cannot believe sometimes that I live in this environment, in these conditions. Well, I have just read a very clever article about the dangers of explosion on the ZAPORIZHZHIA nuclear power plant that is under control of Russian orgs, and I want to share with you my concerns. Well, first of all of this information and analysis is based on the interview of the head of the Ukrainian intelligence service, Kirill Budanov, and I have no reason not to trust them. So what he says that in a Russian army, they have already developed and approved a plan according to which Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant can be blown up at any moment when they need it. In general, this is the largest nuclear power station in Europe and like third largest in the world, so any catastrophe on it can cause very serious global environmental, human effects. And of course, only Russian terrorists could have considered such an option. What have they done? They have mined the territory, and they know that what is just the vital part of any nuclear power station system, that is definitely a cooling reservoir, because it's used to cool temperature in energy blocks, and otherwise they heat and they explode. So that's perhaps the Russian plan, and they have mined the cooling reservoir. And what is worse, according to the data of Ukrainian intelligence services, they have brought vehicles that are full of explosives and mines close to 4 out of 6 energy blocks, and they can make them explode any moment they need. What will happen after this explosion and when cooling reservoir is destroyed? The reactors will blow up very quickly with all the radiation out in the environment. It can take 10 hours or it can take 14 days, but in general this will just be the final countdown for thousands of people, millions of animals, and many territories all over the world. Once again, the plan is approved, not just developed. The plan is approved, and when they receive the order, it may take them a couple of minutes to implement the plan. And I will answer a couple of questions that will ask me Russian trolls in comments. I can already predict that, so I have prepared myself and I have answers. Question number one that they typically say: why do they need to blow up Zaporizhzhia power station, nuclear power station, if it is under their control? Well, there are a number of reasons. Reason number one, when they will realize that they are losing, and Putin has to explain it to his people, and an explosion on nuclear power station will be a reason why they cannot stay there and they have to retreat back to Russia. Or even to prevent the success of the Ukrainian counteroffensive and to make all of these territories unavailable, not just for fighting, but even for living. This is also a way to freeze the front line, exactly what they want, because they are not capable to move further into Ukraine and they have to retreat. They have to give up territories, as they did with Kherson and many other as settlements that were occupied and now liberated. So they realized that the process of this liberation started, and they retreat and they retreat, and soon they will return back to Russia. They will have to give up Crimea, they will have to give up Donbass. That's not the plan, that's not what they wanted. And an explosion on a nuclear power station will lead to huge environmental pollution and inability to do anything on that territory, and of course deaths of hundreds of people and thousands of people, among whom will be not just Ukrainian soldiers and Ukrainian people, but also Russian people and lots of innocent people all over the world and Europe, because nuclear explosions, they are totally unpredictable. And it is also a very typical Russian tactics of burnt soil, of burnt ground. I don't know how do you translate that properly in English. They could even put Moscow on fire when they did not want to surrender to Napoleon. So this is not something new for Russia. They are typically about destruction. And those of you who still doubt, look at what they do in Ukraine. They claimed they wanted to liberate people. They claimed they want to use these territories more effectively, but what do? They simply destroy everything, which once again proves they don't even have a plan to occupy. They have a plan to destroy and to erase, and the explosion on nuclear power station is one of the instruments that they can use. They will also explain it in the media to their allies that this was, of course, Ukrainians, not Russians, as they try to do with the explosion of Kakhovka Dam. They are perfect manipulators, and sadly, there are still political authoritarian, mainly leaders, who believe them or choose to believe them. And I will not be surprised if headlines will appear that Moscow blames Kyiv, Kyiv blames Moscow. Guys, this is very dishonest, this is very unjust, because they came to our country, they start stabbing and destroying it, looting it, raping it, killing it, and still some headlines like that. We were living peacefully, we had our plan, and our plan did not involve any war, any occupation, any evil, any crime. So please just understand that. Also, I know many of you are worried about me. I'm really far away from Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station, but this does not make me feel calm and relaxed, because this can be a huge tragedy to all mankind, and you cannot feel normal in this situation. And I think it's really sad that all of us smart people with all these technologies, all these online observations, intelligence services and all that stuff could not have predicted that Putin is such a criminal, and we haven't stopped him years before all of this started. This is really sad. But I know we're different, so if you support my channel, please subscribe, share the videos. We need more people to understand what is happening right now in Ukraine and how much we need your support, because it's an existential fight, not just of us Ukrainians, but of the world in general. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons, and Slava Ukraini!